What's up, squeegee slingers? Tradman here. Thanks very much for tuning in once again on the traditional window cleaning YouTube channel. So come with me this morning. We've got a job to do, which is a white framework but with really nasty black chunky seals that leak this black residue when you clean them every single time. This job is done monthly and it still leaks this black residue onto the framework. So I thought I'd show you these frames. They're not always good jobs. They're not always very nice frames to work on that we have in our business, but I thought I'd show you these ones today. Comment in the box below if you've worked on these type of windows yourself, ways that you get around trying to clean up that framework without getting this black residue everywhere, because it seems to just get absolutely on everything, on your hands, on your cloth, on the framework obviously itself. It's not the nicest windows in the world to work on, but let me know if you've worked on something similar and how you go about doing it. That'd be really good. So enough yibber yabber, shall we go and actually do some work? I think so. Come on guys, let's go and have a look. Okay, so the first thing we need to do, get some gloves, because my skin over years and years and years of doing traditional window cleaning doesn't particularly like cleaning solution anymore. It just dries out cracks and bleeds, so I just put on a pair of these disposables. I usually go about through maybe a couple of pairs of these a day. Even during the summer they're not too bad, and they don't leave that white powdery stuff on your hands either. These ones are quite good. Got them from Tesco. They're Marigolds disposables for DIY stuff. Let you see the box just in case you fancy getting these yourself. There you are, Marigold. So I've got them on, happy days. Get our trad belt. And normally, because this is now Monday, I've already sorted the van on the Sunday, so all my tools are in good condition. I've checked them all, the squeegees are all good, and got enough soap and water. Waters are all topped up and ready to go, so it's literally just grab the tools and go. So let's just do that, shall we? Okay, so what we're going to do, we've got two different channels here for the accelerator, and because this job we're away to do now has some very small windows as well as big ones, rather than keep switching between the two sizes, and I don't usually take the bucket with me for smaller jobs anyway, we're just going to use this 10-inch flick pad, and that should do everything fine. This thing here is something that I've added on. It's actually a big shout out to Poles and Blades. This is actually his brainchild. He sewed on a pot scrubber onto his one, so this is the same kind of thing. So it's about the same kind of abrasiveness as a bronze wool pad. So I've just had my first go at sewing. I just watched a YouTube video on how to sew and then sewed that on, and so far it's been on for a few weeks, three, 4 weeks, something like that, right? And it seems to be holding fast, so all good. That's great. So what we're going to do is just pop our soap on the washer, and we're all good. And we've got our converted Unger N-Light pole, which used to be 20 feet, but it's now about 14 feet. But I reattached the end stopper on there and took off the hose holders. There was a little plastic, I don't think I've got them here anymore, but I think I chucked them out, but there was little plastic hose holders that were attached to here. I've taken all them off, so it was literally just the pole, and I've just screwed and glued a Moerman end cone on there so I can attach the accelerator, so that's all good. Normally over the weekend I leave the squeegees hanging up, so I would recommend, if you're leaving your squeegees for any length of time, take them out of your bucket and a belt and leave them hanging up somewhere so that the rubber is not touching anything. So when you come to use it on the next day, or say for instance like today, it's Monday, all your rubbers are in good condition. So we've got all our squeegees, we've got water, we've got soap, cloths, all good, fantastic, and a 14-inch applicator, perfect. Great, ready to go. Right, add our soap. Sorted, let's crack on. Okay, so this is the windows we're going to work on, and you'll see it's got the black seals here, and you can actually see the residue that won't come off. The only time it will come off is if you use a stronger PVC cleaner, but what that would mean is you would have to do frame restoration basically every month, because this job's a monthly job. And what happens is, after you've cleaned the job, residue, water, and that comes out of the rubber seal and leaks down. Even when it's raining, that's enough to trigger the black runs that come out of here and come down onto the framework and leave a bit of a mess. You can see maybe on the camera, hopefully, there's black runs. You'll see them more clearly once I actually clean the window, so we'll demonstrate here what we mean. We've got the soap on the applicator, so we're just going to rub that in. Okay, so if you have to detail everything, then what's going to happen is, well, for instance, we'll show you, you use one of these cloths. Now, you'll see on this cloth that it's got lots of little black marks everywhere. That is from windows like this. So one of the advantages to using a zero detail tool is that you won't have to use your microfiber to wipe the glass, to wipe this edge, to detail your windows. So let's have a look. We've got our squeegee here. Okay, so what I'm going to do actually, just so you can see, I'm going to wipe this frame, just the white bit. I'm going to wipe the frame here. Okay. Alright, so I'm being very careful not to touch the black rubber seal, because what happens is if you rub it with your cloth, it just gets covered in black residue, so we'll not do that. Okay, so the rubber's dry at the moment, we haven't primed it, so you can either obviously rub it on the applicator or on your soaped up window. Give it a rub like that before you start and then get going. Okay, because there's more friction on these squeegees with the blue clips on the end, so you need that better solution. Okay, so now you can see the black stuff that's coming out of the frame there, okay? But because we're using this tool here, you can see there's nothing actually on the glass to have to detail, so I'm saving my cloth from getting covered in black marks. All these black marks that are on the this cloth here are from when I used to use the Unger S Plus channel, which wouldn't really zero detail everything. It was okay, but it would leave bits here and there that I would still have to detail, so that's where all these black marks have come from. So yeah, you can see yourself all that. And I have actually tried with a water-fed pole, but the water-fed pole, it's less, it's not quite as bad with the black runs, but you still get the black runs even with the water-fed pole. So leave your comments in the box below, folks, how you get around trying to minimize getting this kind of result. Do you do frame restoration each time, or do you wipe off this excess and then that's it? You know, so normally what I do is, once the window's been cleaned like so, take our cloth and just wipe it, and then at the end of the job I'll come back to the start and just make sure the black runs haven't come out while I'm here. I mean, that's all I can really do. I can't actually come back at the end of the day to wipe it up kind of thing, so do this one. So yeah, it's really handy having this tool here, because I'm going to save all the cloths from getting kind of wrecked really. So we've got a 16-inch here, a bit of a bigger pane, cut into the corner and come down, come across, come down, and just fan the rest of that window. And I can close out to the side, because we've got the rubber seal at the side, we can close out to the side. If it didn't have the rubber seal there, you'd have to close out at the bottom. So there we are, we'll just do this one. Prime my rubber. And the other technique you can do as well, rather than fanning it down, is cut in, come across, come all the way down the window, back up, and then round like that and down, and that does it as well. So when we're at this stage, we've squeegeed the windows, everything's nice and clean. I'm not having to take out my cloth and wipe up anywhere near this black rubber seals. Here you can see the black runs still coming out there. So all I have to do is tidy up this bit at the bottom. So it is saving me a lot of time and saving my cloths getting damaged as well. It's quite handy. So we'll clean that up. And these are Unger microwipe cloths. They're quite good. They're quite small, and because I'm using this Moerman pouch, this new version anyway, the pouches internally are not overly big. So if you're using small cloths, you'll get away with using this Moerman pouch, but if you're used to using big cloths and towels, I wouldn't recommend that you get this pouch, because it won't fit. And you'll also struggle as well if you've got rather large hands. I suppose I would say my hands are pretty average, but I know of some folk that have said that if they've got quite big hands, they struggle to get into that compartment there on the right hand side. It's a bit small, so that's the downside of the latest pouch. Okay, nice and clean. Just make sure that's nice and dry, or as dry as I can get it. Fortunately, it's quite sunny today, quite warm, so the sun will dry this out. Okay, so there we have it, and the glass is nice and clean. Didn't need to detail it, as you can see, nice and close. Okay, there's a bit of solution just on the actual framework itself, which is fine, but I won't actually have to touch the glass. So you'll see here, getting nice and close, what I'm doing is I'm not actually going to touch that rubber seal. I'm just going to wipe the frame, not the seal. I don't want any of that black stuff on my cloth. There we are. Okay, so that, folks, is what is entailed with this job. We've actually got some more windows there I'm going to use the short pole for, so let's go and crack on and do them, shall we? To do the framework, now if this was done not so regularly, I would get the ladders out and do it by hand, but because this is done every month, it's a fairly light residue mess that is at the top of the framework. All I do is put the slightly damp cloth on the squeegee like so, extend the pole, and that enables me to get right in there. You can also use the other type of frame cleaner, which is basically a car mitt. You can use that as well if you've got that on you. That's another way to do it. And have the car washing mitt, microfiber mitt on a pole, and just wipe down the frames. But this does the same kind of idea. That's all the frames nice and wiped. It's usually just a bit of dust, spider webs, that kind of thing. Nothing too sinister after a month. But if there's any bird's mess or anything, I would just use the flick pad, give it a scrub, and then obviously go around the framework after that with the cloth. Okay, so we've got this window here. Now, because it's kind of almost straight out in front, it's not quite sort of above my head, I'm kind of just looking slightly up at it. We're going to put the handle into 10 degrees so that it's near enough kind of straight, because the window is near enough kind of straight out. Alright, we've got the soap on the washer. Rub that in slightly, like that, so you get the nice consistency, and then start. It only takes a few seconds, if that, just to rub in that soap, and then it's good for a few windows. Alright, so we'll do this window first. Primer rubber, so give it a rub like that, into the corner, come along the top, come down, back up, down. Got our tower of solution in the middle, so just fan that down, and I'm not having to go and wipe any of that black rubber seals. So there we are, the window's nice and completed, framework's done. There's nothing, no residue to wipe up off the sides, because this flick pad stays quite flat to the glass, so it's not riding up and over and onto the framework, so it's not leaving any excess solution to have to clean off. Same with this one. This is why we're using this smaller blade, is because there's a small window, but then annoyingly there's a big window as well. So rather than keep switching between tools, just, you know, for that kind of thing, I'll just use the smaller channel on everything. Be just as quick than swapping tools over, just so I could use a slightly bigger channel on a bigger window. That's the UK for you. We have pretty much every size of window, and it can all be within the same job. Okay, so when you're doing thinner windows like this, you just come down like this, fan left to right, gliding down the glass. Boom, done. So again, not having to wipe up anything other than the bottom of the frame, which has got all this black stuff coming out. Lovely. Okay, which is a shame because it's a nice white PVC frame, so all this black rubber seal excess is kind of ruining it. Let's have a look. Okay, so have a look at this frame, make sure everything's dry. See, you can get runs that just seem to still keep coming out, even if you've done it a few minutes ago and dried it. Still a few more that decide to pop their head out. Okay, that's perfect. Have a look at this one. Yep, that's fine. Okay, and this one here. So you've got a little bit that's come out of there, because I'm going round that way anyway, to go around the back. So might as well check these double check them on the way back round, just make sure. Yeah, so for that kind of thing there, I don't know if you can see it folks, but there's a black mark there. You would have to get out a special kind of PVC cleaner or something like the pink stuff and use bronze wool to rub that up, but you'd have to do it every single month, so you'd have to factor that into your prices for doing that. Or you can just do what I'm doing now, which is the general maintenance clean. There's a lot of flies and dirt going around just now. So there we have it. Okay, so that's it nice and clean, and we've avoided getting, give that a shake out so you can see, any black marks on our cloths, because you don't really want that. Because what happens is if you get a black mark on your cloth, you then go to wipe the white PVC frame, it transfers from your cloth onto the frame, and then it can be quite hard to get it off the frame. You might need to go and get your frame restorer to then clean up the white PVC. I know if you're not using a zero detail tool, you're not going to have much choice, you're going to have to probably detail. But if you've got these kind of jobs, I would highly recommend that you get something like this, because it means you're going to save having to touch that black rubber seals and transferring that onto your customer's white PVC frame. So hopefully that's been of help and been of interest to you this week. Let me know again if you've worked on this kind of thing in the comments box below. That'd be really appreciated, and what you do, that'd be really nice, it'd be interesting. Okay folks, so thank you very much, you take care, be good, and I'll see you in the next video.